Here we are. Hey guys, how's it going? Julia over here, and we're gonna go ahead and have some fun with our yoga tonight. Just gonna give it a couple more minutes because I see that other people are trying to join. So in the meantime, while we are getting set up with our yoga mat today, I would recommend for our props. Um, 2 blocks. I say it every class. I love having 2 blocks so that we can try to keep good symmetry into our body. So having 2 blocks for our practice. I would bring a blanket if you want additional padding in some asanas. We might not see a lot of that tonight, but a blanket is always fun for some extra comfort here. And I don't believe that we will be needing a strap today. I'm gonna go ahead and take off my socks. I don't know what I told you. Must take off my socks. But just for a moment, I'm gonna go ahead and create a little more light into the room here. All right. Wonderful. So if y'all haven't met my pooch yet, this is Mr. Sarge. Say hello, Sarge. Okay, now let's say goodbye. Oh my God. We'll come and hang out with you later. There you are. Good. Okay, so as you do lay down your mat, I would recommend laying it kind of near some wall space because we may need to borrow the wall for our peak pose today. So it doesn't need to like directly be on it like my mat is, but just to, keep the reference and keep in mind that a wall is just as much as a tool as, a block. But tonight, what we're going to be working on is we are going to be having fun with a side crow. What? What the heck is a side crow? So what a side crow is basically just a crow, except instead of having our knees directly on our triceps or possibly onto the sides because we're all different in our yoga practices and our journeys. But essentially, it is a arm balance and a core pose as well as a twist all at the same time. It is strengthening our back as well, strengthening our arms. Yoga is a complementary to our whole body, but these are going to be the main areas that we are going to be focusing in. Because in hopes of teaching this crow pose this week, hopefully next week we can explore to go even deeper into our twisting and balancing practices. But instead of jumping into the future, let's worry about right now. So just to give you a quick demonstration on what a side crow looks like, for those who may possibly not know what a crow pose is, a crow pose is a core and arm balancing pose where we bring our knees directly behind our triceps. And if it's uncomfortable, that's okay. You can kind of hug it from the side until you learn how to accept the fate of uncomfortability behind the arms with your tailbone high up into the air and allowing yourself to lift one foot and then the other off the ground into this arm balancing pose. So that's what crow pose is. And then for side crow, it's essentially going to be just the crow but on its side. So for a quick demonstration, here, I'll view this way. I'm going to do a side crow where my legs are going to be pointing to the right. So what a side crow looks like is you got the same arms for your crow, but except your knees are going to go onto your arm, and we're going to come forward and lift both feet off of the ground. Good. And that is a side crow. So don't worry if you are looking at this pose and being like, there is no way in heck that I'm going to be able to do this. There are some alterations that we can use so that we are able to, accomplish things that may not seem accomplishmentable. You know what I mean? So you can go ahead and find yourself to start in an extended puppy pose. So if you wanted to grab a blanket for a little extra padding, you're more than welcome to bring it here underneath your knees. Otherwise, we're going to find ourselves in our generous tabletop position, keeping the hips directly above the knees. And then we're just going to first take our forearms to the ground to start, keeping our hip bone up to our tailbone towards the ceiling, trying to keep our hip and our knee level, and slowly bringing the stomach towards the thighs as you bring the tailbone up. Eye gaze forward, chest down. So we are almost looking for the same properties in our spine that we would look for in our downward facing dog, trying to find some elongation, hollowing out all the lower spine, guiding the chest in between the shoulder blades. And if you would like, if you have your two blocks, you can place your two blocks underneath your forearms or your elbows, even possibly your hands towards the front of the mat, so that you can allow more room to be present into the shoulders, still guiding your tailbone up towards the sky, and still making sure that you have your tailbone up at that 90-degree from your shin to your leg. Good. And then coming here with your breath. And as we concentrate on our breath today, allowing yourselves to be able to invite concentration in throughout our practice. We typically do to every yoga practice, but concentration is going to be key in today's class since we are going to be working a lot with our core, working with balancing, and working with challenging ourselves into asanas that may appear or may bring a little intimidation into our practice. And that's just part of the journey, being able to explore these new areas that seem foreign. Or maybe if you could do a side crow in the past, but you possibly can't now because of whatever circumstance, this is your time to revisit and relearn those that have been forgotten. And that's perfectly cool. And so in today's class, expect working with our core, expect working with arm balancing, twists so that we can get into the side body more, as well as opening up through the hamstrings. Take 2 more breaths. And if your arms aren't on blocks, just very gently lift through the chest and remove your arms from the blocks, placing them towards the front of the mat here. Curl the toes. And then start to come into an active child's pose so that we can stretch out through the feet and through the ankles and bringing the arms towards the front of the room. We want to act as if there is a bowling ball underneath our stomach here. So maybe bring in the center of the spine just a little bit towards the ceiling as we press our hands into the mat. You're more than welcome to set an intention for your practice. Good. And on the next inhale, we're going to inhale, engage the core, come into a supported tabletop position. Good. Inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to round through the spine, come into the active child's pose, keeping the toes curled. Inhale, round your shoulders, and then come into a straight spine, supported plank. And then exhale, round through the spine, extended child's pose here. Go ahead and do this 3 more times. So you find that core engagement, bringing your spine straight and shooting your chest forward. And exhale, rounding it back into your child's pose. And if you want to get even more groovy into it, you can bend the spine a little bit by lifting up more through the heart towards the ceiling into a upward facing dog. Just finding these organic movements. Let's open up through the spine. And then after you have done your 3, you can go ahead, inhale, shift forward, come into that supported plank, and then into full plank. And into the full plank, you want your hands to be nice and spread, connecting the knuckles and the fingers to the ground, pressing your hands in, and lifting your shoulders up towards the ceiling here, and shoulders above the wrists. Engaging through the quads, lifting up the kneecaps, and rooting the heels towards the back of the room, lifting the spine up towards the ceiling. Three more breaths. Inhale, shift forward and bend the elbows. Put the feet, inhale, upward facing dog. Sending your chest up and forward. And as we exhale, we're going to lift up through the hips, come into our first downward facing dog. Go ahead and pedal out each leg, 1 heel at a time, so that we can allow access with our hamstrings here. And then we're going to go ahead and bend both knees, bringing our stomach towards the thighs and the tailbone up towards the ceiling. I'm going to inhale, round through the shoulders into plank. Chaturanga, flip the feet. Inhale, upward facing dog. Then exhale, downward facing dog. Hips up towards the ceiling. Pedal out each foot. Okay. And we're going to inhale, round through the shoulders, coming into plank, shift forward, bend the elbows, flip the feet, inhale, upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Okay. Bend the knees, gaze forward and hop or walk, step to the front of the mat into Uttanasana. And into Uttanasana here, let's go ahead and bring a generous bend to the knees so our stomach can lie onto the thighs and start to round your spine down. Maybe grabbing onto the ankles here. And then very gently engage through the quads and then just slightly straighten them out. You can allow your hands then to come onto your elbows and kind of swing back and forth here in a little pendulum. Good. Go ahead and find that inhale, halfway lift. Good. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees, palms face up. Inhale, rise into your high mountain. Connect the hands together and then create a back bend here. Good. And then exhale, release. Hands in front of your heart. And then we're going to inhale, rise. Go ahead and bring your hands up to the ceiling one more time. And then we're going to exhale, hip hinge forward. Hands to the mat. As we press our peace fingers into the mat, find the inhale, halfway lift, and walk our fingers over towards the right side of the room, keeping our right hip crease square. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, release. Walk your peace fingers to the left side, square the left hips to the front of the room. Inhale, lift. Exhale, come back into the center. Walk to the right side again for 2 breaths. Good. And then peace fingers. Walk over to the left side for 2 breaths. Square the hips. Good. And walk back to the center. Find that inhale. Halfway lift. Calf spine. Good. Then exhale. Forward fold. Hands onto the mat. And from here, we're going to engage the core. Come onto our toes. And we're going to inhale, hop the legs back into plank. Shift forward, chaturanga, flip the feet, inhale, halfway lift, or upward facing dog. All right. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Then we're going to go ahead and bring both the heels towards the right side of the room. We can get more into the side body. So warrior feet, toes are pointing to the left side. And inhale, lift up the heels and send them over to the left side. Toes pointed to the right. Good. And then come back into your downward facing dog. And we're going to root to the left heel, point the right toes back, and inhale, rise, 3-legged dog. Stay here for 3 breaths as we send the chest more towards the ground and tailbone up towards the ceiling. Good. And then root through the right foot back to the ground. And then inhale, rise, left leg, 3-legged dog. 3 breaths. Keep the foot nice and active. Right heel is rooted. And then root the foot to the ground. Bend the knees, gaze forward. Press the hands into the ground. Engage the core and inhale, hop. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift right away. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to go ahead and send the left leg back, coming into that running lunge. As we square the hips into this running lunge, inhale, rise, right arm towards the ceiling. Twist. One more breath here. And then exhale, release. Hand in front of the right foot. Left foot at a diagonal. Inhale, rise. Left arm towards the ceiling. We want to press the right tricep and the right knee into one another so we can open more through the rib cage and bring in ourselves more open towards the left side. And then when you're ready, you can pendulum swing the left arm down into the front of the mat. Keeping that good, strong connection. The arms together and opening up the chest to the left side. And then very gently, slowly release the left hand to the ground. Good. And then we're going to shoot the right leg back. And then downward facing dog. Bend the knees generously, eye gaze forward. And then inhale, hop to the front of the mat. Uttanasana, forward fold right away into a half lift. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. This time, send the right leg back. So you send the right leg back, inhale, rise, left arm towards the ceiling, twist. 2 more breaths. And then exhale, release, left hand to the ground. Drop the right foot diagonal, rise, right arm. Press the left tricep and knee into one another. And then you can go ahead and pendulum swing the right arm down and towards the front of the room, opening up the chest more towards the right side. Good. And then I'm going to exhale, release. Good. And then send the left leg back, downward facing dog. Root through the left heel and inhale, rise. Right leg, three-legged dog. As we root through the right leg, or lift through the right leg, bend the right knee and then open up the hip crease so that you're bringing your pelvic more towards the right side of the room, spreading both the knees, left and right, as far apart as you can. Hip hinging here. 3 more breaths. Be nice and strong. Bend that core engagement. Good. Inhale, square the hips, and bring the right knee to the right elbow. Inhale, three-legged dog. Bend the right knee and exhale to the left elbow. Hold that for 3 breaths. Good. And then straighten the right leg, flat left foot. Inhale, rise, left arm, sideways triangle. Finding the core engagement and lifting up your hips, pressing the outer edge of the right foot into the ground. 1 more breath. Slowly release, left arm. Bend the right knee, inhale, straighten all the way up towards the ceiling. Good, bend the right knee and send it all the way forward. Running lunge, dropping that left knee. So good time to either fold the blanket or to go ahead and grab some padding here. So coming into that Anjaneyasana, I'm going to square the hips, find that core engagement, and inhale, bring the arms forward first like you would in chair. And inhale, rise, arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Lifting your chest up, pressing your right foot into the ground, and bringing your arms towards the back of the room. Good. And then we're going to take the hands, bring them down to your side and behind your sacrum. Interlace your hands and rotate your shoulders back. Straighten out your arms and inhale, rise, lift through the chest. And possibly bringing a back bend here. Dragging the left foot towards the front of the room. 1 more breath, inhale. And then as we exhale, release. Bring the arms forward, come into half splits. Toes are up. Good. And then as we inhale, swing the arms back, come into Anjaneyasana. Create the cactus arms for 1 breath. Palms connected, lift up through the chest and bring the right elbow to the left elbow to the right thigh. And lift up through the chest, gaze over the right shoulder. Coming into that twist, and you can either keep your palms together or opening up your palms. Good. 1 more breath. And we're going to inhale, rise, bring in the palms back to the heart center. And I'm going to bring our arms forward, hands to the ground. Go ahead and lift up the left toes here. And walk the right foot just about 1 inch towards the right side. Point the toes towards the corner of the mat, opening up your hip like you would in lizard. Flat left palm. And then inhale, rise, bring your right hand towards the back of the room. Grab your left foot for a quad stretch. And take your eye gaze over the right knee. 3 breaths. Good. Pressing your left foot into the right hand. Wonderful. Slowly lower the left foot. And inhale, bring the right hand to the right knee. And gently open up the right knee here towards the right side of the room. 3 more breaths. Gently bringing that right hand down to the mat. Slowly coming onto the forearms into lizard pose. And you're more than welcome to either straighten out through the left leg if needed, or keeping it onto the ground. Good. Sending your right knee towards the right pinky toes. Forearms onto the mat, possibly making a fist. You also have your blocks. If you feel like you need some additional height, you can place your arms onto the blocks as well. 5 breaths. Engaging the back core, lifting the shoulders up towards the ceiling. After the 5 breaths, you can just slide the blocks to the front of the room. Good. And then you can go ahead and walk that foot back in between your palms. And then just inhale, take your chest forward, Anjaneyasana prep. Exhale, half splits. Hinging at the hips, sending the right hip crease back, the left hip crease forward. And you can utilize your blocks here if you need that additional height. Good. Inhale, come forward onto your Anjaneyasana prep. Curl your left toes, engage the core. Inhale, rise, arms up towards the ceiling. Good. And then inhale, rise, left knee up, high lunge. Good. And then we're going to go ahead and lower the knee again. 2 more times. Inhale, rise, high lunge. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower. Hip hinge, hands to the mat. Send your right leg back. And go through a vinyasa flow. Inhale, shift forward, bend at the elbows, flip the feet. Inhale, upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Pedal out through the legs. Good. And then root through the right heel, straighten the left leg back. And then inhale, 3-legged dog. Keep the heel rooted and keep the toes back for 3 breaths. Bend the knee and then open up your hip crease, spreading the knees as far apart as you can. Hinge at the hips, bringing the chest towards the ground here. 2 more breaths. Good. Square the hips. Inhale, knee to left, elbow engage the core. Good. Exhale, 3-legged dog. Bend the knee. Inhale, left knee to right elbow. 3 breaths. Twist. You got it. Good. Exhale, 3-legged dog. Good. Inhale, bend the knee and send it in between your palms. Bring the blanket towards the right side. Good. And stay here for your high lunge for a couple breaths. And then lowering the right knee, top of the right foot. Square through the hips, and then inhale, rise, arms up. Anjaneyasana. Lift up your navel here. The back leg is dragged forward as we square the hips. Good. Arms are towards the ceiling, neck is long, shoulders away from the ears. Nice, and then we're going to go ahead and inhale, bring the hands behind our spine here. Clamshell, rotate our shoulders back. Straighten the arms, and inhale, rise through your chest. Bring the right knee towards the front of the room. Back bend. 2 more breaths. And then we're going to inhale, rise, bring the palms up towards the ceiling, and bringing them together here. Inhale, lift through the chest, and bring the right elbow to the left thigh, twisting for 3 breaths. Inhale, chest is forward. And then we're going to go ahead and take the arms forward. Half splits here. Arms forward like you would in chair. Good. And then inhale, send the arms back. Open up the chest once more. Your Anjaneyasana prep. Good. And then taking the hands down. You go ahead and walk the left foot towards the left side of the room. Good. And then from here, we're going to lift up through the right knee. Bring the right toes up towards the ceiling. And then inhale, guide that left hand to grab the right foot. Good. And take your eye gaze over the left knee here. Pressing the right foot into the left hand. 3 breaths. And then very gently lower the foot. And then bring the left hand onto the left knee. Very gently guiding the left knee towards the left side of the room. Eye gaze over the left shoulder, getting a little deeper to the twist. 3 breaths. Good. After the 3 breaths, you can then gently bring the hands to the ground. Either keep your legs straight and lifted or knee to the ground. You can start to bring your elbows down into your lizard, possibly bringing more room into your hips if you bring the toes pointed towards the left corner of the mat. And then guide the left knee towards the left pinky toe. 5 breaths. You have your blocks too if you would like to place them underneath your forearms here. You want to send the chest forward, engage the core, and bring the space in between the shoulders towards the ceiling. Good. After the 5 breaths, straighten up the arms and send the left foot in between. And you go ahead and have splits. Use the blocks if needed. Square the hips. Good. And then to keep things even, because I realized I forgot, go ahead and rebend the left knee. Curl the right toes. Good. And inhale, lift up the right knee, and bring the left knee up towards your chest. And then send the left foot underneath the right armpit. Sideways triangle. Drop the right foot on the diagonal. And inhale, rise right on towards the ceiling. 3 breaths. And slowly release. Right hand, bend the left knee. Inhale, straighten to your 3-legged dog. And then drop the left foot. Round through the shoulders. Come into your plank. For 3 breaths, engage the core. Good. Come onto your forearms. Into forearm plank. Engage the core. Send the heels back. Elbows directly underneath the armpits. 3 breaths. Then inhale, hike the hips up. Walking your toes towards your elbows. Tailbone up towards the sky. Hollowing out through the spine. Dolphin plank. 3 breaths. Good. We're going to bend the knees down. Inhale, come into your tabletop position. And in your tabletop position, walk your feet behind your hands. Bring your knees out. Come into Malasana pose. Lifting up through the chest. Good. So pressing your palms together. Straightening out through the spine. Finding that core engagement. 3 more breaths. A little bit of glute engagement as well. And then go ahead and connect the hands to the ground here. Knees can be either just on the outside of the tricep or right behind. We don't want them to be pressing into our elbow because that's your stabilizing joint here. So bringing your hips towards the sky, keeping your knees bent. Have your hands fanned, press into the ground. Place your knees either behind or on the side of your tricep. But as your tailbone is lifted here, we're going to come up onto our toes, find our balance, 1 foot at a time, engage the core. Inhale into your crow. 5 breaths. Drop the feet. Come onto your seat. Press the palms together. Go ahead and do some wrist therapies here. So, some wrist therapies, you can go ahead and clamshell the hands. Just kind of churn some butter. Well, churning butter looks like this, but I don't know. Just roll out your wrists. You can churn some butter too, keeping your wrist nice and strong and going the opposite way. And you can also press the back of your hands onto the mat, kind of coming side to side. Good. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the music down a little bit, and we're going to explore a little bit of some side crawl action. So we want to keep in mind that if you have some wall space, this can be a tool for us to use. Not only some wall space, but we have the power of our blocks as well to give us some height support. So I would like for us to kind of go over towards the wall so that we can find a easy way to get into this side crow pose. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start on our right side and having our toes be towards, so the toes are going towards the left side, towards the wall. So I'm going to bring my little sticky mat over here so that I can get some good wrist support. Okay. So with the side curl, again, instead of coming onto our triceps, we're going to come onto the side. And we're going to try the easy way first. So from here, I would like for us to come into a squat. And with our arms forward, we're going to bring them out to the side so that our left or our right hip here can press on top of our left elbow. So right onto our tricep here. So it's going to be the easiest way to get into it. And we're going to have bent arms here into the crow. So as we have our arms bent here into the crow, we're going to inhale, shift forward, and come forward like you would in a chaturanga. If you feel like you need a little bit more height on yourself, you can grab a couple blocks and place your feet onto the blocks so that you have assistance already of bringing your hips up towards the ceiling. My floor is a little crooked, so I got to find the even spots. There we go. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and as close as I can, placing my hip crease or possibly my thigh onto the left elbow, coming forward and walking and hugging my right elbow. Okay, sorry. We're hugging the right elbow into the right hip crease, and then the left arm is hugging onto the thigh. That's what I wanted to instruct. So we're going to guide that right hip crease towards the right arm. And we're going to kind of walk our feet onto the wall here so that we have some support. And taking our eye gaze forward onto the mat. And here we have a supported side crow. 3 breaths. Good. You can let go of the wall if you wanted to practice. And then slowly bring the feet onto the blocks and come on off. Good. Why don't we try that onto the other side, and then we're going to try this again, but we are not going to use the wall after this time so that we can get a feel of the side crow action on each side. So I'm going to bring the blocks behind me. Good. So we're using the blocks to have our feet for additional height, and then we're going to Spider-Man our feet up on the wall so that we can balance ourselves and we can feel like we're being supported as we are supporting our hands here. Good. So I'm going to go ahead and place the feet onto the blocks to start, coming into a little gargoyle crouching position. And we're going to walk the hands to the outside. Good. So we're going to find some bent elbows here. And so the right elbow is going to hug into the left thigh, and the left elbow is going to hug into the left hip crease. Good. So bending at the elbows, bringing into that left hip crease, walking our feet up onto the wall. And if you don't need the wall, you can let go. 3 breaths. Good. And then slowly hop down. Go ahead, come onto your knees. If you need to take a child's pose and do some wrist therapies, you could go ahead and do so. Rotating the wrists around, or possibly placing the back of the hands onto the mat, lifting them through the chest. And you can just kind of guide your hands up in a circle. So as you can see, this pose already is going to require that wrist strength. It's going to require that core strength and making sure that you don't hold your breath. Because if you hold your breath, you're not breathing, and that's what's going to cause you to shake more. Some back core engagement as well. And some work with our upper body. So there's so many different categories that this pose supports, it strengthens, and what you need to do in order to support this pose. So why don't we go ahead and try it without the wall here. Good. And another way that you could practice it is with having your arm and your hip by the wall. Some walls can be crooked and some trim can be in the way, so that can actually cause you to slant more. So I prefer kind of spider walking it if you're trying to condition yourself. But if you don't have that, you can try a wall. I just get worried about over slanting onto the side where your body is. So I'm going to go ahead and move mine now away from the wall. Just for a second here. Good. And so let's try that different approach without the wall. So from here, coming into that Malasana squat, we're going to walk our feet over towards the right side of the room. And I'm going to face forward this time so you have a different angle to look at. Good. I'm going to have my hips up into the air. I'm going to have my hands shoulder length apart. My shoulders engaged, my elbows back like we would in Chaturanga. Inhale, shift forward. Bring that left hip crease towards the left elbow here. Good. Press the feet together and bring it out. Side crow. 3 breaths. Gently release. Toes to the ground. Bring the knees in. Go ahead and take a breather for some wrist therapy action here. And you can still use the blocks if you need to find that assistance, some height for your tailbone, especially if we have tighter spines. So I'm going to do that onto the other side so that in case you need a visual, then you know. Having the blocks side by side. Hands onto the thighs here. Let's just do 3 rounds of cat-cow so that we can find some spinal movement. Inhale, chest up into your cow spine. And exhale to your cat spine. 2 more times. Good. Let's take our hands, clamshell, and then rotate up and inhale up towards the ceiling. Good. And then exhale, release. Just some wrist love in here. Cool. Let's go to the opposite side now. Good. So I'm going to go ahead and find my little gargoyle crouching position over here. And I'm going to take my hands and bring them on the outside of the right hip. Good. And then I'm going to find my arms, come into the shoulder girdles, bend at the elbows like you would in Chaturanga. Good. Guide the right hip crease towards the right elbow. Good. And then we're going to come forward and inhale, lift our feet off of the blocks here into our side crow. 3 breaths. Gently come down. Good. Come on to our knees. Neutralize the spine. Go ahead and take your breaths to yourself. This is a challenging pose. This is an intermediate to advanced because it does require a lot of opening into the lower spine and into the obliques, the quadrilumbar spine, so spine connecting from your lower, the muscles connecting from your lower spine to your hips, and that takes time. Yeah. So go ahead, shake your wrists, and then find yourself settled near your mat. We are close to the end of class here. Got a little time left. So we're going to give our wrists a break because these were some strong poses. And we're going to find ourselves onto our spine here, hugging your knees in, rocking your spine side to side, giving it a little massage. And I'm going to grab the outside of the right foot and bring the knee in towards the ground. Bring the left foot onto the ground. Good. Heel up, coming into that half happy baby on the right side. As we're in this half happy baby, you can go ahead and then straighten out through the left leg. Good. 3 more breaths. And then from here, we're going to go ahead, hug the right knee in, right arm to the T, tuck the left hip underneath the right, and come into a supine twist, keeping both shoulders onto the ground, eye gaze over the right. And if you wanted to, you can also straighten out through the right leg. Two more breaths. Good. If your right leg isn't straightened, go ahead and straighten it. Bring the left arm to the T. Engage the core and inhale. Point the right toes all the way up towards the ceiling, coming back onto your spine here. Good. Bringing the hands to the outside behind your right thigh, and inhale, guide your nose up towards your knee, keeping your shoulders away from the ears. Good. And then very gently release the knee. Hug both knees in, rock side to side. Good. Hugging the left knee in, straightening out the right leg. Actually, we can keep the right foot bent to start. And coming into a half baby pose onto the left leg. And when you feel comfortable here, you can then start to straighten out through the right leg. Two more breaths. You're going to go ahead, bend the knee, and then tuck the right hip underneath the left arm to the T, and inhale, supine twist to the right side. And if you wanted to, you can straighten out the left leg. Two more breaths. And if your left leg isn't straightened, go ahead and straighten it and point the toes up. Bring your right hand to the T, engage the core. Inhale, bring the left foot up towards the ceiling. And then you can wrap your hands behind the left thigh. Inhale, guide the left knee towards the chest. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, and inhale, bring your nose towards the left knee. Two more breaths. And then go ahead and bend both knees in towards your chest. Massage your spine. Rotate the ankles. And then for one more back bend, let's place our feet to the ground, hands onto the mat. Rotate your shoulders back and inhale. Come into a bridge pose, and you're more than welcome to modify your bridge. If you wanted to stick your hands underneath your hips to support, possibly forearms pressing into the ground with your hands clasped together. Or if you're looking more for a back bend and you want to attempt a wheel, you can take your hands underneath your shoulders here, keeping the hips up, and inhale, reach your chest up towards the ceiling and towards the front of the room. And when you're ready to release, you can slowly release your hips all the way to the ground. And then point your toes to the front of the mat. And take your last deep inhale, bringing your arms above overhead. Taking a deep inhale through the nose. And then exhale through the mouth. Hands wherever's comfortable. Staying here for the next few moments in Shavasana. And as you are here in your Shavasana, I wanted to read a quote for today's practice that is by C. Joy Bell C. That don't be afraid of your fears, that they're not there to scare you, that they're there to let you know that something is worth it. So as you begin to find these micro movements from your toes, your ankles, your fingers, and your wrists, so allowing the energy that you gained from today's practice, help you reawaken your conscious state. And the next breath, you can take a deep inhale, bringing your arms above overhead and point your toes to the front of the mat. And then exhale up in the mouth. You go ahead, bend the knees, and very gently guide yourself to the side here. And then very softly coming up into a comfortable seated position. And then you can meet the palms together here and take a bow for yourself for making it to today's class and taking the time to take care of yourself, honoring your body, your mind, and your spirit. And thanking your climbing buddies for sharing this virtual space with us today. And hoping peace and health for the rest of your night. And namaste. Well, thank you all for attending the 6 p.m. class. I'm also having another class after that we're going to be exploring more into the twisted crow or side crow, but it's going to be more intense in the next class. So if you would like to participate, you're more than welcome to. And thank you everybody who has come to donate blood today. It was very nice to see a lot of you, as well as those who have supported us by buying a hanging board. And I hope that you enjoy them. And you're welcome, Celeste. I'll see you in a minute if you're joining the next class. Bye.